Oh shit. 1 second. I should really talk to Mike and see if he could make my intro longer because I feel like I don't have enough time to get my shit together in the amount of time that the intro plays. Um, Let me get these comments up here. I don't know why it's separated like that, but um, actually, I'll put this in a separate comment. As always, the show is available for you guys. I shared a link there. If you've got something you want to talk about, you want to talk something out, just click on the link and join me. Hello, Eddie Pence. Um, good to see you on, Eddie. Thank you for joining us. But yeah, if you guys have anything that you want to talk about, let me know. I really wanted to talk about how every single thing happens for a reason. I've just been, I, I overly believe this to the point where it's probably a little bit toxic because I tend to like not stress about things. I stress about stupid things. But when it comes to like pretty major things like losing a job, a car breaking down, money problems, whatever, I tend to like just eh, everything happens for a reason. Everything that's meant to be will happen. Those are like major things that I probably should stress about, but I don't because I have like so much faith in my universe, so much faith in my universe that things will work out. And I don't know if it's, me manifesting it and it actually does work out, or I'm just right and, things do work out. And maybe it's not right away. Sometimes it takes 10, 15 years before you see why things happened. Um, Sometimes it takes 10, 15, 20 years for things to work out, but they do. And as long as you believe that they will, then they will. I know it sounds crazy. Just believe it and it'll happen. But it really does. I've been seeing so many people close to me going through things and then, things just work out. Um, I don't know if you guys know Tim, but he is one of the people that's really gotten me on this kick this week. Um, he actually lost his job. And it was a crazy story, which I will not get into because that's not my story to tell. But he has a problem with his foot and he's supposed to be like resting it and, keeping it up as much as he can. And, obviously that wasn't possible with work. And it ended up that he got fired. And it was a surprise to him, not a surprise to the universe. And I always feel like whenever people get fired from jobs, for stupid reasons, obviously, if you're just a crappy employee, it's not surprising when you get fired. But it seems that if you pay attention when people get fired from jobs, I feel like they always find something better and it always works out in the end because the universe just kind of needs to push you. Um, we get comfortable in situations and the universe is like, no, you're meant for better things, you're meant for different things. I'm going to make sure that you get on the right path. And so I feel like people like get fired from jobs and then end up with something way better and they're way happier and it's just a better fit for them. But yeah, so back to Tim. And sorry, Tim, if you're on here or watch the replay. So he just posted the other day that his foot is like totally healed. And I know for a fact that had he not lost his job, he would not have been resting it as much as he should have been. And that it would not have healed the way that it was able to because he wasn't working. And then now he has 3 job interviews this week. So there you go. Um, it's it does. It works out. I heard a quote a long time ago that I still think about all the time, and it said, everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end." And that's so true. Like I I know you guys think I'm like super positive and freaking sunshine and rainbows all the time. Well, I guess the people who know me know that I'm not, but um I've been through a lot of shit, and I've just always kind of had faith that it'll work out because it really does. Just don't give up and just keep that positive mindset that you're meant for something better and that better things are coming, and they will. Holly said, someone said that to me last week when I had to get my car fixed. It was divine intervention that my power steering went. He said something worse was going to happen if we kept on the same path. Exactly. Um, people, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like it's kind of a toxic trait because, like, if my car breaks down, um, if I get stuck, like the other day, I got stuck at this red light, and then there was like a tractor, like an excavator or something that was going in front of me. And I ended up sitting at this light for like 15 minutes. And, like normally I would be like stressed about it, or other people would be stressed about it. But I just always try to remind myself that, like, maybe had I been able to go through that light, then I would have been in a car accident, or something would have happened, or a deer would have jumped in front of my car, or whatever. Um, it is sort of a toxic trait because I'm always like, whatever. This is where I'm supposed to be. But I firmly believe that. And for somebody who has anxiety, I'm such an anomaly, you guys. I make no sense if I were to like explain everything. I have a whatever, it's meant to be, attitude. But then at the same time, I have like raging anxiety, and I stress about things that like I really shouldn't. It's backwards. It's backwards. Everything's backwards. Um, the things that I probably should stress about, I don't. I mean, I've been in situations where I've gotten, eviction notices or foreclosure notices, or like, I don't even have $20 to my name and I have to get groceries for a week. Like, I've been in those situations. I've been in them. And you know what? It always worked out. It always worked out. Sometimes it doesn't work out the way that you think that it should. And that's like such a big thing for me. Like, the word shoulda needs to go away. Um, I should have gone to college. I should have been married by now. I should have had a house by now. I should have got a promotion by now. Like, whatever. That word needs to go away. Because there's no such thing as like a timeline of when things need to happen. Or what you need to do. All right. Holly says, but now I have to pay a boku what? Oh, money, probably. Money to get it fixed. Oh, she said money. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, Holly. Holly said, I wish I could have that feeling. I cried the whole week. It's not super easy. And I know that like you're paying a lot for your car to get fixed, but what if you didn't get it fixed? What if that didn't break? Your power steering didn't break and you were driving on the freeway and crashed your car. Um, you could literally not be alive right now, Holly. And I think that's definitely worth whatever the cost is of getting, your car fixed. Things definitely could have been terrible, in different ways. Obviously it obviously it sucks when things come up. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it will get better, and you can always make more money. that's what, that's what Kimmel tells us. It's fine. We can make more money. Um, yes. Holly said she gets it. It always can be worse. And it's so hard to think that. It's so hard to think that. And there are situations where I get stuck in it. It's not like when something bad happens, I immediately am like, "Oh, it's fine." Yeah, I will break down about it and cry and be sad about it, but I will snap out of it eventually. Sometimes it takes, a matter of minutes and sometimes it's a week. But it's hard when you're in a situation to remember that everything will be okay because it seems like the world is crumbling around you. But it'll be okay. It'll be okay, Hallie. Holly said, I want to save for a house. Do you know a realtor? I do. You should move to Ohio so I could be a realtor. Um, and also, you should look into the USDA program because there's zero down programs. Just saying. This is not a real estate show, but message me later. I'm pretty sure there's a helicopter outside my house. It's fine. Yeah, there's definitely a helicopter outside my house. It's fine. There is a hospital not too far away, and sometimes they have like the life flight. Look at that. The universe is like, here, girl, how about this reminder? There's a life flight helicopter flying over my house right now. And it's just a little reminder that things could always be worse. I think that's one of the things that made it easier for me to remember things like that, just because I have seen, what rock bottom looks like for a bunch of different people. Um, I have I have been around when my cousin lost his son. So it's it's a tough one because on one hand, I hate when you're going through something and somebody says, "Oh, it could be worse." Like, yeah, well, it could fucking be better too, right? So, sorry. Um, so that's hard because yeah, it could be worse, but it also could be better. So I don't necessarily like that attitude when I'm trying to like comfort somebody or when somebody's trying to comfort me, but I absolutely do use that in my internal monologue because I try really hard, if the kids are driving me crazy or whatever, to remind myself that there's people who can't have kids or there's people that lost their kids and would love to deal with the arguing and the screaming or you know what I mean? I don't know. It always can be worse. You're right, Holly, but sometimes that's not what you want to hear. Holly said they're coming for me. I fully believe that I am on a CIA watch list. So hello, CIA. They'll come for me eventually. Holly said it absolutely could get better. You stress ate and gained 4 pounds. Yeah, obviously I stress eat and happy eat and all kinds of things. Food definitely makes me happy. It's not a healthy relationship at all. Um, but yeah, I could definitely appreciate that. I wish I was like one of those people like when I was stressed out. I like, oh God, I'm so stressed. I have to go to the gym. Or I'm gonna go for a jog. I can't even imagine being that person, but if you are that person, good for you because that's phenomenal to not sit there with ice cream or something. Or you know what else would be great? Stress cleaning. Do you guys do that? That would be fantastic. I I no, I was gonna think of a time where I was a stress cleaner, but that's not me. I think only like when I was like nesting or whatever, when I was pregnant with the kids, was the only time I ever uh, cleaned out of stress. Holly said, "Oh, that's angry cleaning." Um, Sometimes I'll like angry clean, just clean loudly if I'm, like, cleaning and the kids are not helping or something, like you go to put a dish away and you slam the cabinet door. Um, that's really also not healthy. Welcome to my show where I admit all of my terrible habits. Um, but yeah, we so back to the original point. Um, we had such a big example of everything happens for a reason at work this week. And, it's taken everything I have to remind everybody that seriously everything does happen for a reason. And this was another example of like other people were like angry or stressed or whatever, or annoyed or whatever. And I'm just like, meh, okay, well, everything happens for a reason. Oh my God, Holly. Holly says Katy Perry has a My Cleaning Fairy. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is, but I feel like I need to know more. Um, and Holly said she has really no reason to be angry anymore. Yeah, so is your house like messy all the time now? Because you just angry clean and then, you get happy and that's it. Then your house is just messy. Here's another contradiction. Like this is going to turn into a show of contradictions tonight. So I have a whatever happens will happen attitude, but also I have super bad anxiety. And then I get so stressed out when my house is a mess, but I also hate cleaning. Um, and I I'm learning from TikTok that these are all like very common symptoms or like signs or whatever of having ADHD. Um, because I also am like a super bad perfectionist. Like everything has to be perfect. But then at the same time, um, I cannot get myself motivated to actually start doing something. So like I will sit there and I will be so mad at myself because I will be sitting there thinking of all the things that I need to do and, thinking about how stressful it's going to be to get them done and to get them done perfectly. But then I like can't start doing things. Um, what is the word for it? I can't think of the word for it, but yeah, so I cannot think of the word for it. It's something I don't know. But apparently, no, Holly, it's like when it's some kind of dysfunction. I don't know, but you like cannot get yourself motivated to start doing something. And it's not like procrastinating. It's like, God, I wish my sister was on because she knows exactly what I'm talking about. Um, anyways, super, super perfectionist, but I can never, ever, ever get myself to start doing a task, even though I know that it's going to be stressful and I know that I need to do so much. And I'll sit there and think about all the steps that I should be doing at the moment. Or, I'll be planning my to-do list in my head, but I don't actually start it. Terry Long, I know you are, but what am I? um, Terry Long, you are the beautiful person, but thank you so much for joining us. Um, I'm so I'm so excited that it's summertime. Well, it was warm out for one day, so it's summertime. I'm excited to start seeing people again and going places and just being outside. Oh my gosh, I got home today from one of my appointments and I literally just sat in the driveway with my dog and just I don't even care. I just need to be outside. That sunshine is so good for the soul. And then I hear that it's supposed to be like super crappy weather again, and there's like more tornadoes coming and all of this other stuff. But at least we got to enjoy today. Um, Terry said I'm barefoot sitting on the front porch drinking beer. It's perfect for that. Also, I don't know if you're barefoot just because you like it or because you recognize that there's like scientific studies about like when you step on the ground with bare feet that it actually like transfers something, like some sort of energy gets transferred to you, and it's like scientifically proven that it makes you happier, right? There's a lot more to it obviously, but there's a company that makes shoes. I really want to look into these. They just showed up in an ad for me, but they make shoes that have like a little disc in them that's copper so that you can still get the energy from the earth even when you're forced to wear shoes. So you can get all the benefits of, running around barefoot, but you actually have shoes on. Um, Holly said, I love walking barefoot on cold cement. I actually do too. Or I like when it's summertime and the cement is still hot or like warm from the sun being on it all day, but it's like a little chilly outside. I love that. Terry's always barefoot unless it's cold. It absolutely makes you happier. I completely agree. And even like if I just go sit by the creek and just have my feet in the water, that just makes me so much happier. Terry, I really do want to get those shoes and try it out because I know, and whether it's psychosomatic or not, I know that just being outside and being barefoot makes me happier. So even if it is psychosomatic, I will feel better wearing those shoes because I'll feel like it's making a difference. Yeah, I like to wear flip-flops in the summertime if I have to wear shoes. Like if I, obviously if I'm going somewhere or whatever, because I feel like that's the closest thing to not wearing shoes. I actually wore flip-flops to my wedding as well, only for like 10 minutes, and then I took them off and was barefoot the rest of the time. But yeah, I'm sure that I'm not alone in saying that, like, seriously, just being outside and just feeling the sun and just feeling, the wind and just not being cooped up inside is so good for you. Um, Seasonal depression is a real thing, especially when you live in a climate like this and you're stuck inside your house for so long. And yeah, I realize that you're not actually stuck in your house. There are like things that people do outside in the wintertime. I'm not one of those people. Um, I get super cold. I seriously debated taking a hot tub from a client the other day. They were getting rid of it, and I wanted to take it just so that I could warm up because I get so cold all the time. Holly hates winter, and Terry says vitamin D from the sun. It's so good for you. I agree, and I try to remember to like take vitamin D, and I'm like super good about giving it to my kids. My kids get vitamins and elderberry and all kinds of stuff, and I never take anything. I've bought so many different things, like so many different supplements and stuff for myself, but I just always forget to take them. Um, but yeah, I try to remember to take vitamin D in the wintertime, and it doesn't work. I guess I could set a timer or something, and I'm sure it's not the same because it's so different. I don't know, just standing there in the sunshine definitely feels better than chewing a gummy vitamin. It's not the same. But yeah, so sorry, I'm trying to read your comments at the same time. Terry said she took a lot of stuff through the COVID BS, but not any now, and you need to. Yeah, I took it whenever I was sick. I would like take this is my recipe that I swear by. Take a double dose of vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc, and do that twice a day. Because I think I had COVID twice, and I did that, and both times it was like less than 24 hours, and I was fine. Um, Holly needs to find a sun lounger to lay in the sun. Yeah. So do you guys remember like, well, you guys probably do this because you're way cooler than I am. Um, but like when I was little, I would just like lay in the grass and just like look up at the clouds and but now anytime I like lay in the grass, then my anxiety is like, do you know how many spiders are down here? There's probably bugs crawling on you. And then you get like the heebie jeebies and I can't do it. So I need like, yeah, like a sun lounger would be nice. I am so, I'm so ridiculously afraid of bugs. And like, we used to go camping all the time. Like, and I'm not talking about like later on, my mom had a camper, but when we were little, we did like $6 a night, primitive tent camping. We were lucky if there was like a water spigot like close to us, but usually it was like just primitive camping. And we didn't have cell phones or tablets or anything. Like we literally were just playing outside all the time. There's actually a picture of my sister and I. We were camping and we had caught fish and we're eating them. And there was like the fish heads are laying on the bench of the picnic table because that's also your cook prep table. And that's what my sister and I were playing with. Like I don't know how I turned into this like a bougie person that can't be around bugs. And again, contradictions. Apparently this is the show about contradictions. I love being outside, but I hate bugs. We were outside for half hour the other day. We were trying to make a path back to the creek from our yard because normally we walk through our neighbor's yard and he moved. And so now it's a new neighbor. So we can't go through his yard anymore. So anyways, so we were trying to make a path through our woods to get back to the creek. And we were back there maybe a half hour. And my middle son was like, there's ticks back there. He had a tick on his arm, on his sleeve. And then my youngest had one like on him, on his skin. And now I'm like done. I'm done with the outside for a little bit. I can't do it anymore because that grosses me out. I don't know if mosquitoes are the worst, Holly. I think that ticks are definitely bleh. I can't. Terry says I don't care. I don't care for laying in the grass after getting chiggers on my arse cheeks once. See, do it. Once you know, I think it's knowledge. Little kids are clueless. They don't know that there's all those bugs. They don't know, about ticks and chiggers and spiders and all that stuff. They don't know, it's us. It's once you learn things, then you like can't go back to that innocence and that fun and, ignorance is bliss, right? Um oh god, that would be terrible though. Okay, listen, I shouldn't be telling you this because you're telling me that you're terrified of spiders, but I also am. Ticks are definitely the worst. Okay. But so I saw this video where this lady was shining a flashlight in her backyard. Did you see it? And she sees like all these sparkles in the grass. And they're like, what is that? So she like zooms in on one and they're spider eyes. They're spider eyes. They apparently light up with the flashlight. They like reflect the light of the flashlight. And her yard looks like glitter and it's all spider eyes. And I'm like, okay, now I will never, ever lay in the grass again. Not even on a picnic blanket, nothing. I don't care. So disgusting. Don't look it up if you're afraid of spiders. But if that kind of thing fascinates you, go look it up. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it, and I pray that it's fake. Because, with AI, they can do just about anything now. So I question everything that I see. Oh, you guys are okay. Holly said, Terry, yeah, I had to deal with them on other people when I was in the army. Had my share of removing ticks too. It's gross. Terry, I'm sorry. I don't know if it's a certain kind of flashlight or what, but she shines the flashlight out there and it looks like freaking glitter. It looks like there was just a party in the yard, but yeah, just shine your light. Maybe it was just her phone light, actually, now that I think about it. Um, Holly, your brother for real showed you that in his yard because, oh, was it just your flashlight from your phone? That's one of those things that I was like hoping was not real, but I've seen it before. I mean, I've seen like one with their lights shine. I'm so sorry, Terry. I'm so sorry. I'm like talking about how knowing things ruins it for you, and then I just go and ruin the yard for you. But the good news is you could just get chickens, and they like to eat bugs. So just go ahead and get some chickens, and they'll eat all those spiders. Um, oh gosh, Holly says it's real. She said it's real. Use your phone light. Um, Terry said, I'm absolutely not shining a light on any damn thing in the yard. That's probably for the best. Just use candlelight if you need to go out from now on. Because it's not fun. Sometimes knowing is not fun. Actually, a lot of times knowing is not fun. But it's really not funny. It's terrible. It's terrible. The internet is good because we have unlimited knowledge, but sometimes there's things that you're just better off not knowing. But yeah, but I'll still like this summer I want to take the boys backpacking a couple of times. Um, Mostly because we bought all that stuff and haven't really used it, but it's good. It's a little hard for me. I still probably would have to do like work stuff while I was gone, but it's just nice to go out in nature and like not think about anything. You don't have appointments, you don't have whatever. You could sleep as long as you want. You can take a nap in the middle of the afternoon. Like camping is phenomenal. And it's one of those things that if you don't have a lot of money, you could still do it. Like that's why we went camping all the time when I was little. Because primitive tent camping is like $6 a night. If you're backpacking, um, there's so many places you could go for free and you just hike and pack or whatever it's called, hike and I don't know. But a lot of like the national parks and stuff, you can just go and they have little campsites set up. So there's already like a little fire pit and you just hike through there and you get to go for free. If you don't have the equipment, then just use Facebook for what Facebook was intended and post on there and say, I'm looking to borrow some camping equipment. Um, we talk about self-care all the time. Self-care doesn't always have to be expensive spas and hotels and whatever. Like, just go spend some time in nature. Bring a book with you that you've been meaning to read for the last couple of years and go be by yourself. Always tell somebody where you're at, though. My sister used to go hiking all the time in Colorado, and she would always tell me, like, I'm going to this place and I'll be back by this day, and I probably won't have cell phone reception, so don't panic. Yeah, but go by yourself, take your best friend with you, take your dog with you. Dogs are great camping. But it's such a good way and such a cheap way. You could really do it for free. You don't have to buy, you know, backpacking food. You don't, because that stuff is expensive. You don't have to buy anything super fancy. Borrow some equipment from some friends and go spend some time in the woods. Take your shoes off, go barefoot, um, connect with nature, literally, with your feet on the ground and get that good electricity. Holly says, wait, I like the moon though. I do like the moon. And it also doesn't have spiders, so that's cool. Holly said, I love camping, and now I have 3 tents. Finally got my tent back from stupid, but only after I bought a new one. Yeah, you can never have too many tents, though. They're good to have. Also, fun fact, they're good if your power ever goes out in the wintertime, you can, if you don't have any heat, set up your tent in your living room and it'll hold in all the heat. And then, you're not super freezing cold. Just hang out in your tent. So it's good to have them. can never have too many tents, I don't think. Lauren says hello from Virginia. Hello, Lauren. Terry said I watched too many missing 411 documentaries to go alone. I'm a terrible worrywart. Yeah. I even think about that if I go anywhere by myself, I'm always like, what if something happens to me? Um, I text my husband my address, like wherever I'm going all the time, because I always worry about that kind of stuff. But don't go by yourself. Let me know when you're going. Girl, I'll go with you. Just watch the ticks and spiders and take your flashlight. Yeah. Maybe just don't shine your flashlight all over. But yeah, take some bug spray or essential oils. You can even make bug spray for super cheap. Guys, if you need tips on how to do things for cheap, let me know, because I did it for a long time. And it's funny because I I think back to like things that I did as a child. Um, some of my most favorite activities cost like next to nothing. Like one of the things my dad used to do with us is he would take us to the airport back when you could do this. He would take us to the airport and we would just park like right outside the airport and we would just watch the airplanes take off. And I thought it was so amazing. I'm like, this is so cool. This is so much fun. Well, come to find out it's free, and we used to go to the beach all the time. That's free. All of these things that were such big parts of my childhood and that, were such great memories. And I always think back on how much I loved them, they were free. And when I had my kids, I try to remind myself of that because, you sit here and you watch people and they're taking their kids to their fifth Disney trip of the year and you're wondering, if you're a good parent and if your kids are having a good childhood because you only have gone camping twice and to the beach a bunch of times, your kids are still having a great time. Um, I think we overestimate kids' needs. They don't need all that fancy stuff. Like, cool, yeah, they'll have fun. Obviously, they'll have a great time if you go to Disney. But they also have a great time if you drive 5 minutes to the beach and go to the beach. They still have a great time. We actually just went to Florida for my grandma's birthday party, and everything that my kids wanted to do was free. They never once asked me about going to Disneyland. They never asked me about going to Legoland. They knew all those things were down there. Um, but what they wanted to do was they wanted to go to the beach and look for shells, and they wanted to go hiking and see if we could find a crocodile. Like those were the things that they wanted to do. Um, what your kids want is for you to be happy. They just want to spend time with you. And I just had this like aha moment. Like my oldest was probably 10. And I was sitting there and I was trying, stressing about it. And I was like trying to figure out like what can I do with him this weekend? I gotta think of something. Like we can't just stay home all the time. We can't do this. And I'm like thinking about things that are free or cheap. And I'm like, as I'm going through the list, I'm like, oh my God, this is my whole childhood. I never once, I never once realized until I was an adult and raising my own kids that like we did things because they were free or cheap. Um, it was, I don't know, it was just what we did. I thought it was just fun. I always was having a good time. We used to go with my cousins all the time. We thought it was just cool. We were spending time with our family. Holly, we love the beach too. And we're so thankful because it's seriously 5 minutes away. And there's like this awesome little, it's not a private beach, but not a lot of people go there. And there's like trees there. So you can sit in the shade if you want to. So it's not like, you're not, I don't know. I just don't like beaches where it's just like nothing but sand, super hot sand. This place is great. You can set up in the shade. There's like, down trees all over, like giant logs, whatever. So you can like sit on those and whatever. And then there's a little pier that the kids like to jump off of. Like it's awesome. And hardly anybody ever goes there. So we're there all the time. It's one of those things that like, if the kids say, "Can we go to the beach tomorrow?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Because it's so easy. We just pack a cooler, not with anything fancy. Again, it doesn't need to be anything fancy. You just pack some bologna sandwiches and take some snacks and drinks with you, and you could literally be there all day, and they have a great time the whole day. Terry said, "I never had money to take my kids anywhere when they were growing up, but they had a fun childhood, or so they say." And they did. They did. I guarantee they did. Um, it's just us. It's just us. Like, why are we stressing about it? We're so worried about, like, making sure, again, and I blame social media 100%. We're so busy, we're so caught up in keeping up with the Joneses, and everybody's posting their pictures of these amazing vacations, and, like, you feel guilty about it, but I promise you it's for no reason. It's for no reason. Your kids have an amazing time, especially if you are going to the beach with them and you're holding their hands and jumping off the dock with them, instead of, like, just sitting there on your phone or something, or if you're in the water playing Marco Polo with them, or you're helping them build a sand castle or whatever. That is what your kids love, and that's what they're going to remember. They're not going to remember, like, oh, she only spent this much money on our family vacation. No, they're not going to remember that. Get out of here. They're going to remember having a good time with you. That's it. Holly said, "I do the best I can. I do, however, have to do better at spending more time with them on weekends." Yeah. I mean, I feel like everybody's guilty of that. And now that my kids are older, if I'm being honest, they don't want to spend time with me. They're at that age, like that preteen age where they just want to be left alone. They just want to stay in their room. They just want to watch YouTube. They just want to play Xbox, whatever. But, like, this past weekend, my husband took them to Round One. It's this arcade that's by our house, and it's awesome because you spend $20 and you get a card, and you could literally play as many games as you want on the card, like, for an hour and a half or something. I don't know. It's super cheap though. And he was taking them there, into the farm parks to see the animals. But my middle son's like, "I don't want to go. Why do I have to go? I don't want to see you stupid animals. This is dumb." Mumbling under his breath while he's putting on his socks. But he had a great time. He had an amazing time. He loves the animals. He loves going and playing at the arcade, whatever. But sometimes I'm bad about, like, if my kids don't initiate to do something, then I'm like, okay, whatever, we'll just hang out at home, because sometimes it's so nice to hang out at home and just do nothing. I definitely need to get better about being like, no, we're doing something today. I tried to do that the other day, and then, somebody found a tick on them, so that ruined that. Terry said, "I think we grow up right along with them, truly." Honestly, I've talked to my oldest about this, because there's kind of an age gap too. Ryan was 7 whenever it was born, so there was, a long time where it was just him and I. And I definitely I'm a totally different mom than I was with him. But it's fine. I mean, it's not like there's any other option, if we're being honest. It's not like we could have had, parenting classes or something like that would actually teach you anything about being a parent. Holly said, "I used to camp out in the yard and have s'mores on the fire pit." Yup. We did that all the time when I was younger. And we had this teeny, teeny, tiny backyard. I mean, it was tiny. We would set up our little 4-person tent, and then we would set up one of those pools where you, like, have to hold the sides up while they fill up, just a little, like, they're maybe 2 feet deep. And that took up our entire backyard, just those 2 things. But we would camp out in our backyard all the time. And it was just great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Honestly, your kids just want to spend time with you. Yeah. Yours are teenagers and they crave your time. You're very lucky. Sometimes I don't see my teenager for days, literally. I mean, he's 19. That's different. He has a job and stuff, but But I do, like, he just went to Florida with us, and that was, like, one of my favorite things, because he's always been super independent, like, literally. I know I just said he was 7 whenever it was born, but at 7 years old, he used to, because I would be, sleep when the baby sleeps. So I'd be sleeping at, like, weird times, and he would just, like, knock on my door in the morning, and he'd be like, "Mom, I'm going to school. I'm going out to the bus." He would get himself ready. He would go out to the bus. But anyways, so he's always been super independent. So, like, I don't think I've cooked a meal for him in years because he just does his own thing. He also has his own kitchen down here. But um when we went to Florida, he went with us, and it was just so nice because he was, like, playing in the pool with the kids, and he would play board games with us, and, when we went to the beach, he wasn't just, like, sitting there on his phone, like, being crabby about it. He had such a good time, and just, like, watching him do stuff with the family and, like, smiling and whatever, it was so awesome. Um, it's very rare to get those teenager smiles, but they're so worth it. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what to do about the just always wanting to be in their rooms, um, because at the same time, like, I remember I was always in my room as a teenager. I mean, granted, like, teenagers are totally different now because they have, like, phones and social media and all that stuff. Like, I was, like, in my room making up dances to Little Mermaid soundtrack, like, I don't it's not the same. It's not the same. They're not the same childhood. There's nothing that compares about it. Um, aw, Holly said her son in Germany texts her to say he misses her. That's really cute. Terry says, "You girls are fantastic moms. I enjoy seeing what everyone is up to." And Terry, you've been, upgraded to grandma, and that is so awesome. I am not looking forward to, like, I mean, I'm not rushing it, but I will be excited to be a grandma someday. Terry says teen years were hard. They don't need you as much anymore, and it's a weird transition for all of us. Girl, I could do a whole show about this particular topic because that is so hard for me. It is so hard for me. Um, you think, like, when you're when you're in the moment, right? It's so stressful. I just posted a video of my kids when they were toddlers, and, it really made me think when they were little, it seemed like it was so hard, right? Just constantly every time somebody was hungry or thirsty or needed to go to the bathroom or whatever, like, they always needed you. They always needed you. And it just seemed like it was so stressful, like, oh, everybody needs me for everything. And then, like, now that my kids are older, I wish that they needed me. And I told my oldest, I said, "When you move out, can you just, like, randomly call me a couple times a week and be like, 'Mom, I need your help. How do I start the dryer?' Like, 'Mom, can you give me a recipe for this? Can you tell me how to do this? Can you help me?'" Whatever. Like, I don't even care what it is, just call me. Um, I know you guys have heard me talk about my dad before and how he's so amazing, and he just, like, I'm 40 years old, but he still, like, shows up with groceries and, tries to take care of me and the kids and whatever. And I will forever let him do that because I know what he's doing. And if you're watching, Dad, I'm sorry. I know what you're doing. Your secret's out. I realize it because now that my oldest, I'll be like, "Oh, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for your birthday?" Nothing, whatever. He just buys himself whatever he wants. He doesn't need me to do anything. He doesn't need me to make dinner for him. He doesn't need me to do his laundry. Like, he doesn't need me for anything. And it breaks my heart. And so I'm not going to do that to my dad. I'm not going to break his heart. So when he calls and says, "Hey, I'm going to be in Madison. What do you need from the store?" I'm going to tell him something. I'm going to tell him something. I'm going to tell him I need a gallon of milk, even if I don't. just so that he could feel needed because I know how much that sucks. It's such a hard transition, guys. It's such a hard transition. You go from being like the center of somebody's world, they literally can't survive without you, to being bruh, right? Bruh, I didn't even, bruh, that's not even my cup. Yeah, that's me now. I'm bruh. Instead of being like super important to them, I'm just bruh. And that's like, they definitely don't prepare you for that. Nothing can prepare you for it, really, if we're being honest. But like, it's something that people don't talk about. And it's one of the hardest parts about being a parent. Yes, it's hard to have toddlers. Um, it's mentally exhausting, but at the same time, like, I would take that over not being needed any day. Now that I've seen both sides, because obviously at the time I was like, this is terrible. I can't wait till my kids are older and they don't need me so much. Now that they don't, I'm like, oh, and I'll be like, do you want me to tie your shoe for you? They know how to tie their shoes, but I still ask, do you want me to stir your chocolate milk for you? No, they don't. But I want to do it because I miss it. Holly says she's also in her room too. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just nice. I get it. I understand why they want to be in their rooms. I understand why they want alone time. Like, especially now, it's a crazy world and everything's so loud and busy and moving all the time. And sometimes it's just nice to just be by yourself. Um, doesn't mean I don't love my kids. It's just so nice to have quiet time sometimes. So I'm not trying to like make them come out of their rooms every single day and you're going to spend a mandatory 6 hours with the family. No, but it is nice to have them come out every once in a while. Holly said I had to text my son's girlfriend to tell him to text me every so often because I know he texts her every day. Yeah. Terry said I started to think I wasn't going to be a grandma, and now I have 4 3-year-old and younger. It's crazy, but it's the best ever. And yes, I load them with sugar and send them on their way. See, it's a totally different kind of love. I feel like it's going to be amazing because it's not just your grandbaby, it's your baby had a baby. So it's like double love. Um, I know when Ryan was born, my oldest, he was very sick and they told me that he wasn't going to make it. They told me that he was only going to live a few days. And my mom said that was double hard for her because it wasn't just her grandbaby. It was also watching her baby go through that. So I feel like when you're a grandparent, you have all of the emotions, but like double because now it's 2 generations. Um, oh, there's Teresa, my mother-in-law. She said, it means the world to me that my sons will be 40 and 33 and call every day on their way home from work. More than I can ever say. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And hopefully my boys are paying attention. My husband calls his mom every day on his way home from work. Um, and I hope that my boys pay attention and they do the same thing. But honestly, my 19-year-old will call me sometimes just while he's driving. And of course, I'm always like, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I just wanted to see what you're doing. And we'll just talk on the phone and I love it. And it makes me so happy. And hopefully he keeps doing that forever. Holly said they will always need us just in different ways. I need my mama, but she's in heaven. Yeah. Um, I hope that my kids always call me and I hope that they always like feel comfortable coming over. Like Shelly's kids, they anytime they have a rule that anytime they go over her house, they're allowed to take 3 things. So if they need toilet paper, they'll take some. If they need whatever, they take whatever. But like her kids go a little crazy with it. One time her son took one of her new frying pans because he was like, I need one of these. But honestly, I want my kids to feel comfortable to come over and just raid my refrigerator or if they're just in the neighborhood, stop over and use the bathroom, whatever. I just want them to feel comfortable and come over whenever, take whatever you need. anything, anything. Call me for a recipe, call me to walk you through something. I hope that they do that forever. Yeah, Terry said, I feel that in my soul. Your mom is so right. That was definitely a hard thing for my parents to go through. Um, and I do listen, I don't have a lot of regrets because there's no point, right? We can't change anything that happened in the past. But one of the things I do regret is with my dad. When my son was in the hospital, they were doing a meningitis test, and that's what they said. You know, they thought that he had meningitis and he wasn't going to make it. Um, so they were doing a spinal tap on my 2-day-old baby. And, my dad had left the hospital, and, I said, well, I'll call you when we get the test results. And I forgot to call him. Oh my God, I forgot to call him. I forgot to call him until the next day. And he's a worrywart like me. And so he's sitting at home just thinking like, oh my God, she's not calling me because she's so devastated, or, whatever. That's one of my very few regrets I have in life is, my dad's going through all of this because it was double hard for him. He's watching his baby go through this and his grandbaby. And then I forgot to call him and tell him that everything was fine and he didn't have meningitis. Whoops, sorry, Dad. Holly says, I have a heart attack when my daughter calls me. She will be 17 on Thursday. And for some reason, I jump when she calls thinking something bad happened. Yeah, it's just human nature. Especially in a world where like nobody calls on the phone anymore. Everybody texts each other Facebook message or sends memes or whatever. Like people don't actually talk on the phone. So like anytime my phone rings and it's somebody I know, I'm like, oh my God, something must be wrong, because like, why didn't you text me? That's weird. I don't talk on the phone unless it's an emergency. So obviously if the phone rings, it's an emergency, right? Holly says my kids go straight to the fridge and the candy jar. Yes. And you know what? I will continue to keep my candy jar full just so that they come over. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care how desperate it makes me sound. I want them to come over all the time. And I will continue to buy their favorite groceries and keep them stocked in the cabinets so that when they come over, they know that they can always get their favorite mac and cheese or whatever it is. I don't care. I just want them to come over and to know that they always have that option. I don't want them to ever feel like, they don't know. Because, when you're young and you move out on your own, a lot of times you struggle with money. And I don't want them to ever feel like that. I want them to know that they can always come here. Maybe they can't always depend on me for money. I'm not going to, write checks every time you mess up and, whatever. But just know you're never going to be hungry. I had somebody extremely close to me when I left my ex told me that I was never going to be anything on my own and that I wasn't going to be able to feed my kid. And she said that, you're making a mistake. I don't know what you're going to do. You're not even going to be able to feed your kid. And that was scary. I guess it was also really sad because this person should not have said that to me. But I don't ever want my kids to feel like they don't know where their next meal comes from, or that they can't call me and say, hey mom, I messed up. I want them to know that if they mess up, it's fine because everybody messes up. Please don't ever like think that you have to do things on your own. I'm not one of those moms that like, oh, you're 18, cool, you're not my responsibility anymore. I don't think that's a realistic approach, if we're being honest. Holly said, I think it's because she actually drives around all the time, where my oldest was a homebody. Yeah. When kids start driving, it's a whole different anxiety. I graduated to big kid anxiety the day my oldest got his keys to his car because, yeah, every time they're gone, that's That's what I worry about. Terry said I definitely would rather have my kids actually call me than text. So my son always does, not my daughter though. She's a texter. Yeah, if I'm being honest, I my life is not conducive to phone calls. Um it's been there's been people in my family who don't understand that about me, and it is not, oh my gosh, it is not a personal thing towards whoever I'm talking to. It's just, first of all, I'm always doing a million things. And also my kids are always screaming. Like, I don't know if you guys can hear, but like they're like jumping around upstairs. I don't even know what they're doing, but it's very loud. Um, it's so hard for me, especially with the ADD. I'm not gonna lie. I cannot like sit here and focus on a conversation while I'm watching my kids jump on the couch, or, I can hear the TVs going on, whatever. Talking on the phone is not my strong suit. So if you want to talk to me, just text me. Or at least, oh, that's good. Scott said it's not picking them up. It's so this is why I bought a mic, because I know that my house is like chaos all the time. Um, but yeah, it's just not, it doesn't work for me. I don't do phone conversations very well. I definitely am a text person. And especially like, I love it if people are like, "Hey, could you call me in a minute?" or "Could you call me when you get a minute?" That's the way to do it. If you have somebody in your life who's not a phone person, just text them ahead of time and be like, "Hey, can you call me?" Because then you can avoid the panic of when they see your name pop up on their phone and they automatically assume that something's wrong. Um, Terry said, I feel like I need to hear that they're okay. I do like everyone to text me other than them, though. That's true. Yeah, because sometimes if you talk to somebody, you can hear like, when you say, "Oh, how are you?" and they're like, "Fine," if they're actually fine or not. So yeah, I guess that's good. But I'm definitely a text person. But yeah, you know what? I think that's such a huge problem in general, is just that people do text all the time. We don't know like what the emotion is behind it, right? Um, if I'm sitting at home and there's like a million things going on and I'm working and I'm trying to make dinner and I'm trying to do homework with the kids and whatever, and you text me and I'm like real quick to answer, then you're probably like, well, if you're like me, then you're probably like, oh my God, why are her answers so quick? She's mad at me or whatever. She's being really short with me. I must have done something. She must be mad at me, whatever. When really it's like, you're lucky you got an answer out of me because my house is falling apart. Um, but it is definitely a negative because you don't know what the other person's emotions are. And I feel like there's so many times where things get misconstrued because of that. um if somebody says they're fine, they might actually be fine, but you don't know that, or you might think that they're being short with you or whatever. um I know we have emojis, but I wish there was like an actual way to tell what somebody's emotions were. Maybe like, do you remember mood rings? Do you remember mood rings? You would put them on and they would change colors depending on what mood you were in. Maybe if they had texting that was like that, that'd be sweet. um Because I've been in situations where people have been mad at me, um, and I mean, like, mad at me for, like, months at a time because of something that they misconstrued in a text message or in a Facebook message or in a Facebook post that I made and they thought was about them or whatever. It's so hard to tell what people are thinking in text form. So that is a huge downfall, but it is nice to be able to, I could sit here and have conversations with 25 different people at the same time. Um, it's a really good way to communicate in that sense because you don't have to set aside time to have a conversation with 25 different people. You can like do it all at once while you're watching Netflix. So that's super cool because I feel like I talk to people a lot more because if I had to wait till I had time to sit down and talk on the phone. Plus, obviously, I talk way too much. So anytime I'm on the phone, it's like an hour-long conversation. Holly, like, let's not pretend that we're not gonna be on Amazon tonight looking up mood rings because that was so much fun. And it had the little like chart to tell you what each one meant. Um, that was fun stuff. I've been telling my kids a lot about things that we had when I was a kid. Um, and it's funny because a lot of that stuff is like coming back. First of all, like all the old cartoons and toys and everything is like all coming back. And my kids are like, "Oh, did you see this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, 30 years ago." Not original, but it is cool. I've been like explaining things to my kids, and sometimes they're like mood rings. I should try to explain it to them and see what they say, because they probably would just think it was weird. Or they would just ask me a million questions like, "How does it know? What is it?" I'll have to explain those to them and let you know what they say. So, oh, hey, Greg. I'm very good. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Holly, yes, we definitely need to get mood rings. So, did I ever tell you guys I have this tradition with my kids? Um, every night when they go to bed. It started because, like, kids don't wanna go to bed, and so they would, like, talk about something, and they know that if they talk about something weird enough that I'll, like, jump into the conversation, and then before you know it, it's 45 minutes have gone by and they're supposed to be sleeping, and so, just one night I was like, "Why do you guys always come up with weird stuff to talk about at bedtime?" So now we have this, like, tradition. Um, we're gonna get a calendar and everything, and we're going to write the weird things that we talk about every night because now it's just, it's tradition, weird shit that we talk about at bedtime. Um, so I'll have to add mood rings to our next conversation because my youngest still wants to talk about weird stuff every single night. So, like, he just went to bed already. So he's probably just sitting up in his bed waiting for me to come in and talk about something weird. um, but yeah, I do actually need to get off of here because I also forgot to get bread. So I have to run to Walmart because they don't have freaking 24-hour stores anymore. But this was fun. And yep, this is my weekly time where I'll remind you that I'm still working on getting. Oh my God. That was my scared face, everybody. Was that fun? My light just fell. Um, But yeah, this is my weekly reminder that I will be getting together a guys show because it's still super important to me. And I did talk to Ryan, and he said that if there's the next time he has a Tuesday off, that he will come on the show. And I was like, everybody wants you to come on the show. And he's like, nobody wants me to come on your show, Mom, just you do. And I was like, no, I'm serious. I talk about you all the time. They really want you to come on. Um, Holly, we got TikTok Ed at Walmart tonight. I don't know what that means. I have no idea. Oh, it's the old man. He knocked it over. Thanks, Holly. Oh, my house is haunted. All right. Greg, I'm glad you caught me too. You should tune in next week like earlier because or we'll just talk sometime. But yeah, I will talk to you guys next week. Please don't forget. Do not forget. If there's something you want to talk about that you don't want to publicly put in the comments, please message my page or message my personal page and let me know what your topic is. I promise you on everything, I will not tell anyone, not even people in like outside of the show, because it is not my story to tell. If somebody is reaching out to me for help or to talk about something that's personal to them, it's going to remain personal to them, and I'm not going to tell anybody about it. So please don't feel uncomfortable with that sort of thing. I know you guys don't know it, but I've brought up a lot of people's topics on the show. I just don't ever talk about it being somebody else's topic. So if there's something that you want to talk about, message me and we'll get it on the show. We'll get people to comment and you'll learn that you're not alone. Um, Super important. So make sure you guys do that. Or, there's always, you can always get it on the comments, or I post the link to the show at the beginning of every show. So if you want to call in and join the show and talk about your topic, then go for it. But I thank you guys so much for joining me. This was fun, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.